Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to Alakim preaching His word in truth and sincerity and in faith. It's the brother Yeshaya from the GMS Plain Tables Camp here in Philadelphia. And I just want to do a quick lesson because I was reading these two articles from RT, RT.com, and they basically, they were basically speaking about the same thing, which is censorship. What we've been seeing going on a lot, lately, is that they've been censoring a lot. They've been censoring what people can and can't say. The main thing they've been censoring is this whole, as it pertains to this whole pandemic, the CV-19, they censor what you can and can't say about it because that's deemed as, medical misinformation, and it's deemed as something that's dangerous. You're trying to convince people, or you're speaking badly about something that's for people's welfare, for people's benefit, that can save people's lives. So, they're using that as an excuse to basically censor what people can and can't say. And those of us with that, with that spiritual eye, spiritual discernment, you can clearly see, that they're going to eventually use that as an excuse to censor us. And they've been doing it. They've already been doing it. Every time brothers, put out a video, it's getting strike down. Brothers' pages getting strike down. And now, it's gotten so bad to the point where brothers gotta, you gotta speak in code, right? You can't say certain things, so you have to figure out a different way to say it. Yeah, so all this censorship is eventually going to lead to famine of the word. I remember I was listening to the radio, I believe, or I was reading an article, and they were speaking about how, I don't know if it was military servicemen, they're not allowed to have extremist views, right? So anything that, anti-government, whatever the medical experts say, that's considered, I guess, extremist views. People, if you believe in what they call, so-called conspiracy theories, that you're basically labeled an extremist. You're basically labeled anti-government, right? And eventually labeled a terrorist. And that's exactly, what they consider us, right? And eventually they're gonna make that issue, a little more, they're gonna push that issue a little more, and the censorship is gonna become even stronger. Whereas we're not even gonna be allowed to speak, speak this word, right? So let me read the article real quick. So the title is Rand Paul quits YouTube over despicable censorship. Yeah, so this man is being censored, which I believe he's a politician. Rand Paul, I don't know, much about politics myself, but it says Senator Rand Paul has announced that he will no longer be posting content on YouTube, branding the Google-owned platform as the worst censors among a host of big tech gatekeepers that silence opposing views. Yeah, I remember, once upon a time, you could literally say whatever you want on YouTube. People put all types of videos. There was a lot of those, conspiracy theory videos on YouTube. Especially I remember, when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of those false flag videos. The YouTubers, they used to go in heavy about that. The whole Sandy Hooks and things of that nature. Hopefully I don't get a strike for even saying the name Sandy Hook. Yeah, but once upon a time, you used to be able to say whatever you want on YouTube. There was literally no censorship on YouTube. But now it's being heavily censored. Why? Because they're trying to put out an agenda. They're trying to pass laws and legislation, to basically take away your freedom of speech, which is, one of the things that America hangs its hat on. The people here are allowed to say whatever they want. They're allowed to speak out against their government. But now we're seeing that being reversed. So it says, penning his thoughts in an op-ed for the Washington Examiner on Monday, Paul noted that the move would be part of a bigger exodus from the new town square of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Yeah, so I guess this guy's saying he's getting off all of those platforms because all of them censor you in one form or another. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So all these, social media sites, which, you wouldn't really consider YouTube a social media site, but in a certain sense it is. All these social media sites are censoring what these people can and can't say. It says over, yeah, right now they're censoring you over this whole, CV-19, but what next? Right? They're gonna censor you. You can't say nothing against, the whole LGBTQ movement. You can't say nothing that can be perceived as anti-government, right? It says over rampant censorship and an almost religious adherence to the edicts of government bureaucrats. It says just because private censorship of speech is allowable under the law. So I guess, some people might be of the mindset or of the opinion that, that they're not allowed to censor you because you have freedom of speech, you know. But here he's saying that, private censorship, because it's a privately owned business, they can censor what you can say and can't say on their platform. It says just because private censorship of speech is allowable under the law, that doesn't make that censorship any less despicable or illiberal. It says Paul wrote, adding that he would be posting video content on rumble.com. Yeah, so he's moving to an alternative platform, which that's what a lot of people are doing. They're moving to these other websites where they're not going to be censored. But the main thing about that is a lot of those websites, they're not as popular. They don't want your views and your opinions and your ideas getting out there. They'll let it get out there to a few people, but they won't let it get out there to large number of people. And even those alternative websites that people are going to now, eventually they're going to crack down on that too. They're going to crack down on everything, right? It says, let me skip down. Oh no, let me see. It says last year the outspoken lawmaker received 2 strikes on his YouTube channel, leading to temporary account suspensions in August and September for what the platform alleged were violations of its policy regarding CV-19 misinformation. So that's the biggest thing that they're using currently is this whole, pandemic. And they're saying if you're putting out misinformation, medical misinformation, it's a dangerous thing. It's dangerous to people's health, and I guess that's not allowed under the under free speech. But even though the so-called experts, one day they tell you not to do something, then the next day they tell you to do it. So isn't that misinformation? An example I could think of is originally they were telling people not to go out there and get masks, right? Just leave the mask to the medical professionals, right? The people that work at the hospitals and the ER and things like that. They were telling you not to wear a mask, but then they came on and tell everybody they have to wear a mask. So wouldn't that be considered medical misinformation? If it was originally safer for us to wear the mask, and then you telling us not to, so that's medical misinformation. But they weren't censored for any of that. And anytime they give out false information, that's not counted as medical misinformation. They just chalk it up as, oh well, the science is always changing. That's their that's their way of saying we can never be wrong. Basically, the science is always changing. It says for what the platform alleged were violations of its policy regarding CV-19 misinformation. But Paul countered that the company had the gall to delete constitutionally protected speech by taking down his videos challenging prevailing narratives. Yeah, so that was the main point. So let me read this one real quick. It says in the U.S. in 2021, you are being told there are ideas or opinions that are too dangerous for you to see, taking aim at loud voices in Congress. Yeah, so basically the government is telling you, what ideas and what opinions you're allowed to put out there. So if your idea or opinion is they deem it as dangerous, then they're allowed to censor you. So this is another article from RT.com. It says the title says Facebook takes cue from Twitter, suspends Republican Congresswoman. So it says Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene accused Facebook and Twitter of censoring her after the social media giants suspended her accounts. The Congresswoman took to conservative social media platform Getter saying that Facebook's suspension of her account for 24 hours is beyond censorship of speech. It says, it comes just one day after Twitter permanently banned Green from using one of her accounts over what the company described as repeated violations of CV-19 misinformation. Yeah, so this is Esau. They say never let a good crisis go to waste, and they're not letting this crisis go to waste. They're attacking people's freedoms and people's liberties on every front. So they're not letting no stone go unturned, basically. So if you're saying anything that's deemed as misinformation, they have the right to censor you. They have the right to delete your account, basically silence you. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to read. Yeah, that was, the main point of reading the articles. These two prominent politicians, I guess. I don't know if this lady, I guess this lady's more newer in politics. So I don't know if she's prominent, but she's, I guess, well known. These two well known, politicians, they're being censored. So if these two, well-known figures, people in positions of power can be censored, how much more so the average person, specifically speaking about us, us that have no position in this society. So it would be easy for them to censor us. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to paint, what we say, the things that we preach as dangerous, as extremist views. And eventually they're not going to allow brothers on YouTube, right, or these different sites, right, and eventually they're going to take us, off of the highways and hedges. Why? Because they're going to say that we're anti-government. They're going to paint us as terrorists, right? So this is Amos chapter 8 verse 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread." Yeah, so it's not going to be a famine whereas you don't have food, whereas you don't have water. It says, "Nor a thirst for water, but of hearing of the words of the Lord." Yeah, so the famine of the word is upon us, is nigh, is right there at the doorstep. And we see it every time, someone, the government censors, these well-known people. One person I could think of is Trump. I believe Twitter and maybe Facebook, they ban him, right, because of the things he says. They say the things he says are hateful or whatever whatever the case may be, right? I guess they're saying he has extremist views, so they have a reason to censor him. And the time's gonna come when the videos that brothers put out, the videos of exhortation, of edification, the beautiful videos that brothers put out there that boost brothers' spirit, right? You might be in a low mood, you going through something, you feeling real low in the spirit, and you watch a brother's video and you're immediately, you lift it up, right? You're smiling, the brother's video, he might be bringing out beautiful precepts, and those precepts just hit you in the right way, and you have, your faith is increased, and everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be all right, so, and there's a time, coming, Lord willing soon, right? Because we know this is all part of the prophecy that these things have to come to pass, for the end to come, right? Lord willing soon that, that Esau is going to completely, censor brothers, pages, right? So, that might seem like a weird thing to say, wanting to be censored, but we know that all these things have to come to pass one after the other. The words of Yahweh Shem Shai doesn't go out void. So this is a part of the prophecy, and that lets us know how close we are to the end when these different things come to pass. So this is Isaiah chapter 55 verse 6. It says, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he's near." Yeah, so this is telling you to seek the Lord while he may be found. You got a lot of people, they know the Israelites, right? They know, they might know one or a couple of precepts, right? But that's as far as it goes. They're not really taking this thing, seriously. You got access. You have easy access to, brothers' videos, breaking down the precepts, breaking down the scriptures, right? And people are, either not watching the videos, right? I remember the Apostle Tahar had made a video a while ago, and he spoke about how folly is set in great dignity. You put out a video talking about some nonsense, and it's getting millions, hundred thousands of views, right? A damn woman put out a makeup tutorial, and it's getting a million views. But a brother put out just a beautiful video, a beautiful lesson, right? It's only getting a few views, right? So folly is setting great dignity. So you got a lot of Israelites, they either not watching the videos, or they watching the videos for entertainment purposes. They watching videos where, brothers might be on the highways and hedges, or and a scoffer come up, and there's like a back and forth, right? So that's entertaining to them. They want to see two people, I guess, have what they deem as an argument or a debate, whatever the case may be. So they're watching these videos for entertainment value. They're not watching it to be edified and to be built up. So they playing around, right? Either they not watching it or they watching it for entertainment value. But what they don't understand, the time is gonna come where they're not gonna have access to the lesson, not gonna have access to the videos, and then eventually they're not gonna have access to the brothers out there on the highways and hedges. So you have to basically get this word. You got to get it while it getting's good. And right now, it is the perfect time. There's no, as they say, there's no better time than the present. So any Israelite out there, thinking that in their mind the word is always gonna be around. Brothers always gonna be making lessons, or brothers always gonna be out there on the highways and hedges, so they have time to get this word. But there's gonna come a time where you're not gonna have access to it, and you're gonna be thinking, well, I should have actually paid attention when I had the chance. I should have obtained this truth, the knowledge of this truth when I had the chance. It's gonna be, and it's for a lot of Israelites, it's gonna be too little, too late. So this is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. It says, "In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation." Yeah, so that's what keeps us stable in bad times. So the wicked, the ill times that's gonna come onto the earth, right? When everyone else is bugging out, we're gonna be stable in our minds. Why? Because we have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. Why? Because we've been built up. We've been built up through the scriptures, right? We've been edified. We've been exhorted. We've been given understanding. We know why these things are happening. We know what's going to happen, and then we know why they're happening. So that gives us that makes us stable in our mind. That gives us balance. That lets us not, able to not waver to the left hand or to the right hand. The scriptures gives that parable that says walk through the straight gate, right? So the straight representing a position of difficulty. It says, I believe it says, there's water on one side and fire on another side. Salakia, if I'm not quoting it right, but you're walking basically you're walking a tightrope, right? So you can't lose your balance. So that's what the scriptures gives us. It gives us balance. It gives us peace of mind. It gives us faith that that Yahweh Bashem Yahshai is going to protect us. But if you don't have the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding of these scriptures, you're not going to be stable in your mind. You're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to be like, what should I do? When certain things, situations are presented to you, you're not going to have the spiritual discernment to know what to do. You're not going to know if you should go left, right, up, or down. Right? So we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, through our elders and apostles teaching us this truth, we know what's to come. They say the key to preparation is the key to success. So that's why Lord willing, if we be a part of the elect, that's why we're going to be successful. Why? Because we've been preparing this whole time. So now is the time to prepare your spirit for the things to come. And you can only prepare through these scriptures, through the understanding and the wisdom of these scriptures. But you're not going to have that if you're not taking this thing seriously. When you watch a lesson, you taking down notes. You actually reading the precepts, right, for yourself. You're doing the research for yourself, and ultimately you begin to apply the things that are being taught in the lesson, right? We're not just saying these things just to be saying it. You know, it's meant to be applied to your life. It's meant to give, you know, to give you that wisdom and knowledge. What's the point of having wisdom and knowledge if you don't use it? You can know how to do something properly, but what's the point of that if you don't actually do that, right? If you don't actually apply, if you don't apply what you know, what's the point of knowing? So you just know it just to know it. So this is Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 33. It says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Yeah, and when what cometh to pass? These different prophecies. And a part of that a part of the prophecies is the famine of the word, right? It says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Yeah, it says, lo, it will come. So it might come, maybe. You know, this says it will come. This isn't a possibility. It's not it's a definite. It's definitely going to happen. Like I said, the words of Yahweh Shem Shai do not go out void. It says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet has been among them. Yeah, so when the famine, you know, they say that seeing is believing. So a lot of Israelites, they're not able to believe certain things until they actually see it for themselves. So when they see all these different prophecies coming to pass, one of them being the famine of the word, the chip, you know, Jacob's trouble and different things of that nature, then they're going to know that what we're saying was a truth. But for a lot of Israelites, it's just going to be a little too late. Why? Because they weren't attaining the wisdom and the knowledge of the scriptures while they had the chance. They weren't applying the scriptures to their lives, you know, to their daily walk while they had the chance. And it's going to be, you know, too little, too late. You know, so Lord willing, this video is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh, double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone. Shalom to Allah, and preaching his word in truth and in sincerity and in faith. Shalom.